Hello, Professor. Thank you for checking out our quick how-to use web conferencing within Moodle. If you do not already have a Wimba classroom link set up inside of your course, please feel free to email us at webcampus@stevens.edu and we'd be happy to help you with that. Now, when you first log in, you'll see that we have selected to put our Wimba classroom link underneath the Welcome to Your Course banner. When you click on this Wimba classroom link, it will automatically launch the room. However, I personally like to access the Wimba Classrooms link in this left-hand side under Course menu and access it right in the middle here. What this will do will provide you a list of not only the room but also the archives. You don't see my archives here because I have not selected the plus sign, which will reveal them once I select it. It's kind of like a drop-down menu and it will show you what archives you already have. As you can see, students are able to download it as an MP3 or MP4. You can also tell if they have access to the archive, whether it's a green button or an orange button with a slash through it. That means they do not have access. This is very important for you to note in case a student might have questions about why they can't access the link. When you set up your Wimba classroom, if you do it on your own, it's very important to make sure that you automatically open new archives. Now, just to make sure that mine is set to that, I'm going to click on the Wimba classroom link once. This will highlight these tools that I get to use. I'm going to click Settings, and in the room settings you'll see I do not have it set to automatically open new archives. So that's why the other two were not accessible. So I'm going to click on that and scroll to the bottom and click Save All. So from now on, when I create a recording, the students will be able to access them automatically without me having to manually do so. For the archives I've already created, all I have to do is click on the archive once, click on Settings, and I'm going to go to Access, and I'm going to click Available, then Save All. This is going to make them available for the students to use. Now, when I want to go launch the Wimba Classroom link from here, I'm going to click it once and click on Launch. So this is going to start up my room, and I'll give it a moment to load. Now, there are several things that I wanted to go over within the Wimba Classroom room to show you what you have available to you. This lower left-hand side, there's a chat room. If there were more participants in this room, you would see their names listed under here, because you can actually select a person's name and type a private message to them that will not only not show to the other students in the room, but it will also not show up in the recording. But if you want to say hello to the students through the chat room, all you have to do is click To Main Room, write the message, and all of the students will see it. This will be your list of people in the course, so when there be more students, you'll see your roster here. If you have a question and you want to ask them if their answer is yes or no, they can either select this check mark, which will indicate that they selected yes, and as you can see, it populates this column here. They can click on the X to select no. They can raise their hand by clicking on this hand button. It will also make a little noise, a little ding, and this way you know that someone has a question if they've raised their hand. If there are multiple people who raise their hand at one time, the numbers will come in as 1, 2, 3, indicating who raised their hand first. This is also the emoticons area, so if they wanted to express emotions, you can show, for instance, if you hover over this bird, that this means away, so the students can show you that they're away right now, and that emoticon's expression will show up under this column. If you're having a lot of feedback on the student end, what you can do is select to mute them, and you can do so by clicking on this plus sign under the talk button. And when you do that, it'll turn into a minus, which will show the students that they are muted, because sometimes there's some feedback that comes into the room if a student dials in. And this is a nice quick way for you to be able to keep the sounds at a good volume for yourself while you're getting the lecture done until you have questions towards the end. You can also disable audio for all the participants by just going to this gear here and click Disable Audio. This will set the room to lecture mode, which means that no one will speak, and then you can click on the gear again, click Enable Audio to allow students to answer questions at the end, if you wanted to mute them throughout the session. Students can either talk in two ways. They can hold down this talk key And as you can see, it turned yellow, and there's a green, yellow, and red indicator showing that my voice is coming through very clearly in the room. They can also do this by clicking on the control key. It'll have the same effect. They can dial into the session by using this blue telephone. It's different for each person, but you have the phone number and the dial-in numbers. So that'll be different for you as well for them. You can dial into the session too. It makes it a lot easier to just speak on the phone, and it will connect directly into the room. Or you can use a headset. You can plug a headset in, and you could just make sure that your audio input right here is selected on the correct piece. And as you saw with my talking and holding this down, you'll be able to see if the students can hear you okay, if that up and down indicator is going as it is up and down. If you wanted to choose video, you can click on plug in a webcam, or even use the webcam that's on your computer. I can make sure that the correct webcam is being used by clicking on options, video inputs, and right now the only webcam I have plugged in is the one that's in my computer, which is correctly selected. And all I have to do is go to this camera key here. It will pop up with a video, and I just have to click this open eye button to show myself. And then it'll start showing video, and I can just leave that on the whole time as I'm talking, sort of to show that I'm like a talking head in the classroom. Now, before any session, it's very, very, very important to click the archive button. It will ask you, would you like to archive this presentation? Okay for yes. You want to click OK. It'll say archiving has started, meaning that the recording has started. It's very important to click this again when you finish, and it'll say archiving has stopped, archive is being saved, archive is now complete. Once it says it is now complete, then you're able to exit the room. Now you can also share your screen by clicking on share. This will ask you to choose your desktop, and then once you do so, you would select screen area. Choose a screen area that you want to show your students. That means anything you show within that box will appear on their screen. So if you have a Microsoft Word document or Excel, a website, any kind of picture that you want to show that you haven't loaded into the room, you can do so very easily by just clicking share, selecting that screen area, and bringing in anything within that area so that it'll show up on their screens. Then you would just have to click on end session and then keep going through your PowerPoint slides. I have uploaded a PowerPoint presentation earlier, so I'll click on that just to show you how to go through the slides. I'll show you where you can upload your PowerPoints if you want to do so before your session. But you can also import a PowerPoint on the fly without having to do anything beforehand, just by clicking on Import PowerPoint. Then you would just browse your desktop, and once you do so, you just click Import. It's that easy, and the slides will show up on this right-hand side. But right now I already have one preloaded, so I'm going to click Go. And this is how all the slides will show up with the title, and also there's a little preview button. So if I didn't want to push it to the room right away, I can click on this preview to see what the slide looks like. This will not show to the students. This is simply so you can see that you're making sure you're clicking on the right thing before you show it to them. So when I click on that, it'll bring up my first slide. I can advance either by clicking on the title or by clicking on the right and left arrows. You also have some tools to play with, like this arrow key to point. You can undo by clicking this black arrow. You can also do other things such as highlight and change the colors, so you can circle things, highlight things. So it's a lot of things you could play with, and please feel free to use those tools. And where you would upload slides previously, let me exit out of this room because we went over everything that you need to know about this. All you have to do is click on the Wimba Classroom link once and just go to Content. This will bring up your Wimba admin screen. You would just click on New Folder, and you would name the folder Lecture 1. You would create it, and then when you click on Lecture 1, you would browse, just add your PowerPoint to the eBoard, which just means that you get the eBoard, you get all those nice extra tools that I just showed you. And then you would just click Add, and it would add those slides into that folder. So now when you go to the Wimba Classroom again in the future, you can have all of your slides preloaded with Lecture 1, Lecture 2, Lecture 3 within your course. And look at the drop-down menu and you'll see all of them there, so you don't have to worry about uploading them on the fly. But whatever is easier for you. That is pretty much it. And if you have any questions, once again, feel free to email us at webcampus@stevens.edu. Thank you so much and have a great day.